Going on to the culture part of the podcast, you have the Quartering coming out with a rebuttal video and getting overwhelming support. Now, he is probably one of the most popular podcasters and YouTubers when it comes to covering news around cultural issues. And he has, I believe, like 1.5 or 1.6 million followers. He's extraordinarily successful. And one of the brilliant things he's done to continue that success trend is he created his own coffee brand. Successfully and appropriately named Coffee Brand Coffee, which A- for marketing. That's pretty clever. I'm not going to lie. That's, of all the names you could have chosen with, that's a pretty darn good one. Now, apparently, some people were complaining that, and he's, in terms of controversy, he really is not that controversial. I would say most of his political ideals are in the middle. Most people probably associate him with being a quote-unquote old-school liberal. But, of course, nowadays, if you just have one opinion that's not completely far left, you're immediately pejoratively labeled far right, which we've seen all too often, which is how we have people actually calling Joe Rogan far right, which he is the furthest from far right. Most of his opinions are overwhelmingly traditionally and nowadays liberal, but Joe Rogan has a couple of opinions and they assume, oh yeah, he's got to be far right now, and they pejoratively label him that. Now, it looks like Coffee Brand Coffee, he always has his coffee company trying to be 100% apolitical. And I don't know if that's realistic these days. I know holding companies, maybe. You have Unilever, who I would joke hypocritically, Unilever has not only Dove shampoo and Dove deodorant for women, where they have ginormous women and advertisements praising their lack of effort to go to the gym. And the same company that says, oh yeah, all these women are beautiful, they also own Axe body spray and Axe, which lies to you, because I contend to this day, if you take Axe body spray and you spray it on you in the commercials, hot women don't automatically come towards you. So the same company that pretends that they care about, body positivity, which is a ridiculous thing in and of itself for the most part, they also say that traditionally hot women will actually come towards you if you use Axe body spray. It's the same holding company. So a lot of people question their authenticity, or maybe they just let all their independent brands do what they do. Now, I'll play a little bit of Jeremy's video here where he talks about how these people came out of the woodwork to start attacking him.
Stuff like that to help sell Coffee Brand Coffee, a brand that I built to be apolitical. It's literally called Coffee Brand Coffee to drive that issue home. Well, I had what was a coordinated effort by people yesterday to smear my company and smear me in particular. I want to address that. I want to treat it with the appropriate amount of response, because this was an attempt to smear my company, a company that, when I told my affiliate manager to reach out to people, I said, I didn't say no lefties. I didn't say no liberals. I didn't say no feminists. I didn't say no women. In fact, we have many women who are affiliates for Coffee Brand Coffee. In short, what happened was several affiliates coordinated this smear campaign that referred to me and my company as having deeply disturbing things, and they got tens of thousands of impressions. And of course, people that hate me picked that up, and I need to address it, because I'm still, it turns out what the deeply disturbing thing is that they found out is that they don't agree with my personal politics.
It's funny, with all these situations, you really only see the quote-unquote cultural cancellations go one way. Perhaps one of the most famous examples being My Pillow, where the CEO came out, and Mike actually supported Donald Trump. He lost contracts with some of the largest companies on the planet because of his political opinions. He lost Bed Bath & Beyond. That was a huge contract for My Pillow. He lost Walmart contract, another huge contract for the company, just because of his political opinions. And let me know in the comments, have you ever seen anyone culturally canceled or have their product removed from a store for having a political opinion on the left? You've seen instances where consumers will purchase less, similar to Bud Light, and you have Liberty safes, which many people are now pejoratively called liberal safes because they had a backdoor to the government, pun moderately intended. But you're not seeing stores drop the brand yet. you have Costco dropping one of the Bud Light brands because it wasn't selling, but none of these stores have, as of April 2nd, after the Bud Light, business blunder of the century, where they had Dylan Mulvaney as brand ambassador, I didn't see any stores come out and specifically say we are boycotting Bud Light right now. It really wasn't happening too much. The major big stores, the Walmarts of the world, the Krogers of the world, none of them really chimed in like that. You have stores that are selling a lot less of it, but that's because the consumers are purchasing less. They may be losing shelf space, but I'm not seeing a single store come out proudly saying we will no longer sell this. You have mom and pop bars, but again, let me know in the comments. Can you name some specific examples where these cultural cancellations go the other way? I've been looking for a couple of years, and it eludes me at the moment. I can't think of a single instance.
Which to me is pretty pathetic, given I don't agree with their personal politics, but I'm still happy to pay them to promote my coffee and things of that nature.
In this instance, he kind of reminds me of a Republican politician, which there's a lot of Republican politicians who they don't want to rock the boat. They want to do the status quo and treat others like you want to be treated. But let me in the comments, I think those times are gone for many instances. You see this where Democrats have tried to indict Trump, 70 million times by now? And Republicans might try to indict Biden. And I say might because, historically speaking, Republicans, their list of accomplishments could be written on a bar cocktail napkin. And it's someone where I wish they would do more. I wish they would repeal the NFA. I wish they would fight for the Second Amendment. I wish they would fight for the First Amendment. There are a lot of things where I'll vote for someone because they say, "Oh yeah, we're going to get reciprocity between the states for concealed carry. We're going to have some reciprocity." It's one of those weird words, reciprocal. It eludes me at the moment. No. A condition in which you're allowed to go, if you pass all the rules to have concealed carry license in one state, you can carry in other states. A lot of states have agreements with each other, and that carries over. There are some politicians who said, "Oh yeah, we should have that be countrywide," and I said that'd be great. And of course, those politicians more often than not are on the Republican side of the aisle, and then they get to the office and they do nothing. Same with the suppressors. You had an act or a proposal to get them off the NFA, also known as the National Firearms Act. They would actually be put on a standard 1099 background check. So it would still be a purchase when you purchase it like a firearm. You have traditional sales tax, which I find morally abhorrent for that instance, especially because you're not supposed to be taxed for your God-given rights. But it was one of those things where instead of the additional $200 tax stamp, as well as the more invasive background checks and the usually 9-month delay waiting period because of the ineptitudes and inefficiencies of the U.S. government, it'd be a standard 4473 paperwork, which is the paperwork you fill out when you buy a firearm from a federal firearms licensee holder, also known as an FFL, or your local gun shop. And there are a lot of politicians who said, "Oh yeah, we're going to get this, take the suppressors, take them out the NFA, they'll be treated as a standard firearm transaction." And I said, great, Republicans, get it done. And they did nothing. It's woefully disappointing, to say the least, which is why I always tell people, all right, we need to vote for someone else now, primary this candidate, get them out, find someone who'll do something better. And hopefully we'll find some of those folks.
Now,
but when it comes to the norms, that's why you don't see a lot of Republicans attacking Democrats like you do in the media or even in the House of Representatives. They're all very pinky high, trying to be fancy, trying to be cordial. And yet the opposite side will venomously attack them on social media, and the Republicans just do nothing. Like, it's one of those instances where you can't have one side playing by an entirely different set of rules, and the right is just pretending like, oh yeah, this is the same situation, politically speaking, we had 20 years ago. Well, quite the opposite. You're having things that have never happened to the United States, and yet they're still acting like everything is normal. They're not doing anything about it, interestingly enough. So when it comes to the norms, they're not the ones breaking the norms, but they are the ones saying they're doing absolutely nothing, which we'll see.
You're welcome to where I will.
And Jeremy's trying to give these people opportunity, literally trying to give them an ability to provide for themselves and, in theory, their family by giving them an affiliate link, which is just simply put, you actually have a link inside the body of, or however you want to represent it, but they make a percentage off of that. And yet, talk about biting the hand that it feeds. They're critiquing Jeremy, who's the quartering, because his political opinions, which, again, why back the clock? Shoot, 10 years ago, none of his opinions could be considered controversial, to say the least. But I partially digress.
I turn down sponsors all the time. But in general, what I don't do is never do anything for them and then use them for clout, which is what these people do. Now, don't go searching them up. I think I made my point yesterday. But one of them tweeted, effective immediately.
And again, I'm not saying one methodology is correct versus the other, but he's saying don't search them up and critique them. Why not? These are literally the people attacking you, and he's still taking the traditional high road, which, let me know in the comments, is that still a viable option these days? I never advocate any form of violence, but in terms of political discord, verbally speaking, why not call out the turncoats who literally stabbed you in the back? So that way, I would argue, then people know not to support their particular podcast. Because if someone wants to support Jeremy in the quartering, then they would want to know, okay, let's not support Sally on her YouTube channel because she got the benefit of using the affiliate link, but then for social clout or virtual signaling, however you want to call it, she then threw him under the bus, pretending like he had some controversial, morally abhorrent stance, which, again, he really doesn't. But again, I partially digress.
I've chosen to end my partnership with Coffee Brand Coffee. Information was shared with me I found deeply disturbing and goes against everything I support. I can't deplete my morals and principles like that. I would never tell anyone what to do or tell them not to support a brand. This is a personal choice I've made. Well, the fact that this post was meant to do exactly that.
Exactly. He's right. And guess what? The person doesn't even say what they're offended about, or more accurately, what they're pretending to be offended about.
What is the deeply disturbing information? Well, they refuse to say publicly. They chose to tell people to DM them about it.
Which is almost like a political move on the political chessboard. They're doing that so you automatically think of the worst, most morally abhorrent thing possible. They want your imagination to run wild by omitting that specific data. Seems pretty morally vacuous, to say the least.
I suspect it's that they don't agree with my politics, since one of the individuals had like the side-shaved head thing, stuff like that. Again, I don't, and I still don't discriminate.
It is kind of funny in the United States. You can kind of tell how someone votes just based on their haircut or if they're in shape. It's just, again, wind back the clock 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it is fascinating to see, culturally speaking, people actually used to, suit up more often, as every man should, obviously. But they actually used to suit up just to go grocery shopping. People used to have pride, integrity in themselves. Now, incidentally, I actually do suit up while I'm grocery shopping because I like to optimize my time. If I'm grocery shopping, it's because I'm coming back from a customer on-site or customer appointment or visit. So, optimizing my time, if I'm already in the car coming back, why not stop and get groceries? And it is fascinating to see how many people look at me with a weird eye. Now, granted, maybe that could just because maybe I look funny. That's certainly a possibility, don't get me wrong. But I'm walking past people and they're in sweatpants or gym shorts. It's ridiculous. If anything, I think they should instate a clothing code at Walmart. You have to have at least, I'm not saying, you could have jeans. Jeans would be okay, but at least some sort of button-up shirt, ideally a blazer, I believe. Now, I'm only 78 to 38% kidding. But let me know, would it be so bad to have some standards in society for people to actually take care of themselves, look good? Or am I just overly, is that just a pie in the sky dream that we'll get back to someday of having a modicum of self-respect and, suiting up more often? But I digress.
Against, any affiliates who want to work with us. And now we had about a dozen people quit because these clowns put out these purposely vague statements. And I tried, they're like, what is it? What's going on? I don't know. So I have people disassociating with me, causing me real financial harm. They go on to continue, the most hilarious part. As a disclaimer, I was partnered with your company. This is after I called them out. With your
And for the record, although he does not suit up, Jimmy does have a collar on shirt. And he does have a beard, so he does have some styles, to say the least.
your company for 4 days. They never even announced it, never reached out to me for any information, which I'm available for, never sold a single bag of.
Who the hell would take that person seriously? I was an affiliate partner for 4 days. Who gives a damn about you? 4 days? At that point, I almost think Jeremy lost money on that instance. Because it takes some cost to have a unique URL to form an affiliate link for those people. And it takes some administration back-end cost and logistics for that. That is ridiculous. This person literally is spitting in his eye. Hopefully not physically, that'd be disgusting. But it's one of those instances where Jeremy is literally just giving these people opportunity. And if this person only had the ability to sell the product for 4 days, they certainly didn't make Jeremy a profit. I suspect they actually lost money on that instance. And again, it's one of those things where they're just using it for clout to perhaps futilely, hopefully, they're going to increase their social media presence or get some extra followers because of this. Whatever modicum of integrity they had, they surely sold it out just to perhaps gain 20 more followers, which is ridiculous.
Coffee. They used my company for clout. They never even tried to sell or work with us. They just use it to put out this insanely obscure post to smear my company.
Not even a single sale?
I was
Really?
in the process of getting set up with a partner manager, and that time I was approached by someone else who was your partner with your company and also exited. As I stated in my own post, I left for my own personal reasons. I never once sold anyone who they could or could not support. Let's not get it twisted. Actually, you did, in fact, effectively do that. You also did not say you left for your own reasons. You said that you found information that was shared with you that was deeply disturbing. These are leftists, these are like libs, and I don't understand it.
You don't? It's a culture war. It's a cult ideology. They can't be associated with you if you disagree one modicum, one little bit from the mainstream media. And again, look at Jeremy's views. Very few of them, I would argue, are controversial. Many people, if you wind back the clock, maybe 10 years, would probably call him more of a Democrat. Now, granted, I believe he actually owns a gun, so of course nowadays you're automatically far right if you believe in the Bill of Rights at all. So perhaps that's why. I mean, when I see his controversial videos or the videos that people might consider controversial, I mean, he wants to protect kids, and he calls some movies woke because they inject political ideology that people would associate with that brand. He's not spreading lies as far as I can tell. He's just providing you with additional information. But that's just too much for some of these folks.
They don't. These are very small creators. This individual had worked with us for 2 months and sold a grand total of 5 bags of coffee, and I was still happy to keep them in my partnered program. And they also put out this big tweet that had 30,000 impressions at the time I screen grabbed it, and it's like smearing my company. It's less bad, but again, as much as I enjoy the product, I cannot in good conscience respect a brand whose ownership holds strong viewpoints that go against my very identity as a human.
Strong viewpoints? Have these people never watched this guy before? What?
You've been working with us for months. Suddenly now, when you're not selling the product, when you're not making enough money, suddenly now you care about my politics, which are extremely inoffensive. And all I wanted to do was give creators an opportunity to earn some money and help, obviously, to grow Coffee Brand Coffee. It's not like I wasn't going to earn money out of it, but I specifically opened my doors to all creators as long as they were active and they had, continued to post, whether they were Twitter memers or streamers or whatever. As long as you're active and growing, you can have the opportunity to earn some money. Now, if you have 3 people watching your videos, you're probably not going to sell a lot of coffee. Okay, I get that. But I don't...
But again, you shouldn't be blaming him. You should be making your content better. or spending money on advertisements, getting your video put in front of other videos. You can't blame his product for not being sold if no one's seeing it, the video.
Get is going out of your way to have this weird clout grab and disparage my company. Now, of course, once I got wind of this, they immediately deleted the tweet. Shocking, right? Because I will stand up for my company, and I don't want, because what was happening is this crap was making other affiliates quit, causing me actual financial damage because they didn't know what they were talking about.
Although it also shows how, I don't want to say morally vacuous, but perhaps how spineless some of the other creators were. They chose to end the relationship with the quartering and the brand of the coffee, or rather coffee brand coffee, because of a tweet that says, I'm deeply disturbed against something. I won't say what it is, but I'm deeply disturbed. Just hearing that got you to quit altogether? Someone who previously supported you and enabled your business to grow? That's ridiculous, beyond all belief.
What do you mean deeply disturbing? Oh my God, what's going on? It was chaos in my affiliate Discord group. And people were emailing my partner manager, Isaiah, nonstop. Here's what the thing. I'm going to put a link in the description. If you want to be a partner for us, if you create content or you're a Facebook group or you have this group or that group, I encourage you to apply. And we don't discriminate on politics. We want you to earn a fair cut for what you sell. And I don't care if you make videos roasting my videos. I don't care. I just want to.
Interestingly enough, would that ever go the other way? Can you think of a product that might be well, I was going to say it should be pretty easy to think of. As many products that are made and represented by companies that are traditionally more on the left political side of the aisle. Would they ever allow someone on the right to represent their product? Or would they drop them like a hot potato in 2 seconds flat? Well, 0.2 of a second perhaps is a little bit more accurate. Of course, what I'm saying is correct. Turn on Fox News. You're not seeing advertisements on Fox News for things like Nike or Starbucks. You're seeing, well, partially because of the demographics of who's tuning in is usually old folks, so you see sponsored videos by the pharmaceutical companies. But a lot of people who are in the middle or on the right, they don't get any of those advertising opportunities because the brands don't want to work with them. They're extremely political. They don't want anyone in the middle or the right representing their products. And Jeremy's trying to do the inverse to allow everyone the opportunity. Perhaps that's why they spit in his eye, so to say, and just threw away that opportunity that he gave them. It's interesting.
Everyone across the board, and a few people trying to sue my company isn't going to ruin that. And it sucks though because it's hard to make it out here. Now I've got everybody and their mother. I've got new competition coming up all the time.
That's happening all the time. It's also one of those things where everyone sells coffee on the podcasting community. I think it's because there's a lot of third-party logistic companies that help with the infrastructure behind that. Interestingly enough, I don't have a coffee brand yet. Maybe I will in the future. I almost feel like the market is saturated. Seemingly every show has their own coffee. I can't help but think a lot of people are coffeeed out. Even I, who drink 2 pots of coffee a day, is on average. It's usually one of those things where I don't know if there's much demand left at the moment. I mean, in the comments if you think differently, but it seems like for years the competition has been growing exponentially for coffee.
It's tough, but our focus is to provide the best possible coffee, tea, and cocoa, both flavored and unflavored, that we can. And I'll use this opportunity to give everyone to say thank you to the nearly 50,000 customers that we have, and offer everyone a promo code under attack, 15% off site-wide.
There you go.
That's good under idea. Attack. One word, 15% off. And I'm going to announce right now that I've just brought back our wildly popular spiked jack-o'-lantern flavor.
I'll get the suburban moms. There you go.
And brand new, delicious flavor.
I've never met a respected man who's bought a pumpkin spice latte. Now that I think about it, I can't think. Like when I go there, I just get straight up black coffee. Have you ever met a man who got pumpkin spice latte? I don't think that's a thing. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen that phenomenon? We might need to fact check that. I've never seen a picture of it happening. It'll be interesting to see. But with this whole situation, I almost wonder, is it possible for a company to be apolitical these days? And Jeremy, he is the quartering. He's been very apolitical with many of his coverage when it comes to the cultural topics that he chooses. He's certainly not pejoratively speaking about any groups or political affiliations. It's one of those instances where, but does everyone is it just the human condition? People want to be tribal and choose sides? I mean, some people call my tech company more right because we do shooting events. I never tell people who to vote for. We never tell people our political affiliations in any way. But people just gather that, and I would argue, I mean, the Second Amendment is for all Americans. It should not be a political issue. But it's fascinating to see people almost want to put a label to things, perhaps just as the human condition. Let me know in the comments, do you think it's possible to have a truly apolitical company these days? And the good news is there's a lot of support for Jeremy. Now, the top comments on the video, again, this video within 6 hours already got 63,000 views and 7,000 likes. So pretty darn good for such a quick video drop. Now, it looks like the top comment from Celerin6702, this person said, quote, "This is what happens when you try to work with the left. I understand you want it to be apolitical with the coffee company, but when you try to work with activists, you should expect this sooner or later," unquote. Which I tend to agree with. There's a lot of people who are just politically ideologically driven. And again, if you don't agree with every single thing, you're ostracized nowadays from the left. They are a very tight, cohesive political movement, basically the opposite of the Republican Party, where they're desperate for anyone to join. They're like, "Oh yeah, just come over here. We'll take you," which has its pros and cons. Now, that comment got 930 likes. You also have someone by the name of Tom Bowers 6713 coming in and saying, quote, "In today's age, if you're being attacked, then you're doing something right. Keep up the good fight against progressive tolerance," unquote. You got 660 views. Pretty darn impressive. You also have someone coming in by the name of the Duggering 63061, and they said, quote, "That's why you don't give money to people who are your ideological enemy. Just because you're open to discussion and think you're being fair doesn't mean they will exhibit the same kindness. You gave them a chance, now they have backstabbed you. It is your duty to discriminate against those types of people," unquote. And this person got 387 likes, which is fascinatingly enough. I wonder how many people are going to drop the brand just because he's being attacked like this and because they perceive him as being politically on the right more than the left. There are a lot of people who will immediately ostracize someone just based on their political affiliation, and it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments. Might this backfire against those activists? Do you think people become more loyal to the quartering or double down on their orders from his site of coffee brand coffee? It'll be interesting to see. You might just get more loyalty from your current customers, and you might get some people in the middle, politically speaking, who feel like he's being unfairly attacked, especially because they never name the issue that they're upset about. And again, if you look at his content, I would say most of it is pretty moderate to say the least. And I don't think anyone with level-headed would find it morally reprehensible or pejorative. But that's just my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but 40-year hyperinflation, gotta say, going to have to go to 3 cents. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. The feedback is greatly appreciated, whether it's your experience working on the UAW assembly line for the new Corvette, or if you're a GM manager struggling to maintain a budget with his negotiations. Whatever your experience is, I appreciate the input as it gives more information out, able to shape the stories even better, more accurately. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.